Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's reads. For the main part of the read, I'm using RPG Tarot deck by, I want to say, Jeff Aldrich and John Taylor. Yep. And the website is Simon & Schuster here at the bottom. Feel free to freeze frame and check that out if you're interested in this deck or stuff by those people, of course. Supportive Oracle cards, Wisdom of the Hidden Realms by Colette Baron Reed. I know there's a few websites on the bottom here. Feel free to freeze frame and check those out. There's also a Colette Baron Reed website. I'll give you that information here too. And also about the illustrator Jenna. There's Jenna's full name. Hopefully that's focusing. And there's some information on her, I believe, and some websites at the bottom. And last but not least, I use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0 for the Fool, and 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, with a 4-sided dice choosing the element for the minor arcana. It's from the Dice Shop. They are from the Dice Shop. MathArtFun.com is the website. Hopefully you can read that if you're interested. That being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's james4astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. And with that being said, let's get into your reading. Hello, Scorpio. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Scorpio? Ooh, that's a pretty card. Let's get through the whole thing, right? Before we get too excited. Now that's a fun flavor for Scorpio. The Emperor is coming up. But the thing is, I don't think of Scorpio as having an issue with that Emperor energy, but it might be like it's okay in pieces. It depends how you feel about it. Scorpio can work with that energy. Scorpio likes to keep things more private. The Emperor tends to be more bold and out there, so it's like a balance of the two. I feel like it's a part-time, it's okay part-time, but if it's constant, it could be a bit much. We'll get further down the road with that in a minute. I don't think anything is off balance right now. I feel like it's more about who I'm dealing with and what I want from the situation. Like seeing something for the positive, seeing something as how can it go more where I need it to, where I want it to. Because I feel like I deal with the certain... For most of you, it's going to be a person. Could be a situation as a general read. Take it where it resonates for you. But I feel like you're pretty successful at dealing with this situation. I'm not saying you like it, but I feel like you're successful with it. It's kind of like if you look at it on paper, you do what you have to do and it does go well. It doesn't mean you enjoy it. So I'm not saying you enjoy it. There's a difference with that, right? Successful and enjoying that successful energy is a whole other thing sometimes. 9 of Wands, half in, half out. And the Magician. Sometimes I have to show my poker hand. Sometimes I feel like people they look at my poker hand, whether I like it or not. There's this weird energy of sometimes either I have to show it or it's seen. And I don't really want to, but I'm like, alright, yeah, I guess I gotta. Maybe it's not a total look at the hand, but it's like, okay, they know more than I really want them to know. I feel like that happens a lot. They know more than I really want them to know. And I feel like I have to let that happen. There's something about this where it's not that I want to do it this way. It seems like this is kind of how it works, and if I'm holding back too much, it doubles back on me. It's kind of like it's obvious that I know something, or it's worse. If I don't know what's going on, then I'm considered incompetent or something like that. So it's a tricky background. People know more than I want them to know that I know. It seems to constantly happen. They don't know the total story, but they know more than I want them to. It's tricky. It feels tricky. But I do feel like I kind of take it per moment. I take it in stride. It ebbs and flows. It's kind of like, I keep looking at this scale. Like if 1 was like they know nothing about what I'm doing, and 10 they know everything, it kind of goes up and down, and it's kind of like it just keeps going up and down, and I don't feel like I have control over it all the time. I kind of can edge it one way or the other. I can kind of influence it to be more secretive or more open, but it doesn't stay. It's like waves on the ocean. It's going to go up and down. It just, sometimes I have more influence than not. Other times I have none. And I just try to take it in stride. It does give me a lot of anxiety, but I also feel like I feel like I'm kind of married into the situation. It doesn't have to be literal, but it does feel like I'm very bonded into it. I'm very kind of like, this is what I do type feeling. I do feel like you have a very deep connection to this situation. It's kind of what keeps you with it. And it's kind of like it ebbs and flows the way it does. Again, I feel like you've been successful with it for a while. And typically water signs, obviously Scorpio's a water sign, there is a level of intuitiveness. Even though water signs tend to be more on the psychic side, they don't have to be. And I'm just kind of putting that out there, like, sometimes I've noticed some water signs, more water signs I've noticed this with than any other. You might be more psychic than you realize, or more psychic than you accept. Especially if people are just kind of like, they seem to think you know more than you actually do, and you're just like, okay, well, I just made it just seemed like it was logical to me to do it that way. Keep that in mind here with this too, because you seem to keep the situation going well. You seem to keep ahead of it, and you seem to know when to say what to say and when to say it. And for some of you, I feel like it's beyond you, kind of like, I don't think that's psychic, that just makes sense. And other people are like, I don't know why that makes sense to you. Especially if people say that to you every now and then. They're like, you always seem to know what to do, and you're like, well, it's just the logical way to do it. And they're like, I don't know what type of logic you're using, but okay, it works. Just in case, like, I feel like for some of you that's just going to kind of click, like, some of you don't feel like you're psychic or anything like that. You're just like, well, that makes obvious sense, you should do that. And other people are like, I don't know how you get to that conclusion, but it works. There's something with this, and I do feel like you're very bonded into the situation. I keep getting that. I'm also getting, like, this is a situation where people are also bonded to you the same way. I feel like we're all in this together. People don't have to be bonded into this situation, but they may feel like they have to be bonded into this situation. Can we get, like, the dice on this? They're fighting to keep the situation going. 5 of Wands showed up with the High Priestess. They feel like they're stuck with it, like they have to stay with it, but in truth they want to. So they want to be there, but I feel like once in a while they act like they have to be there. So that's a flavoring to this, which is fine. They do want to be there, but sometimes they act like they have to be. It's really weird, because it's kind of like, well, if you told them they could go, no harm, no foul, they'd be like, no, I want to be here. So it's kind of like, okay. I feel like you're very stable at the current energy that I'm feeling with this. It's where it needs to be, and I feel comfortable with how it currently works. More in the sense of, like, this is how it works, and I've accepted that. I don't expect it to change. And I get, like, you're getting a lot of benefits from this. A lot of benefits, and you learned how to move it where you want it to and get what you need out of it. Seeming to me, it feels like you've made as much peace as you're going to make with it. And it feels good. When I get that 9 of Pentacles, it feels good. Because again, maybe you're showing more of your poker hand than you want, but they don't see everything. People do not see everything, so there's still going to be some things that people just do not know. So there's kind of like this little revolution energy coming in here. The long night. The long night. There's some major changes that are coming into this situation. And something is missing. Something is going to be missing. Something's going to be missing, and I feel like this is like a cyclical thing. Something's going to be missing. I feel like there's a change. It doesn't, even though the world is coming in, I don't feel like it's happening overnight. I feel like this is happening over a notable period of time, which could be a month, could be less than a month, could be more than a month. But it's not just like one night they're here, next night they're gone. It seems like it's processing over some time. Everything's going through. It does feel like something is leaving and then something's going to come and take its place. I got that Phoenix energy with the Eyes of Beauty, which is like, all right, this had to go. We didn't really like that, but something new is coming in, and it's going to get hard to get used to it, but, it feels cyclical to me. So I'm like, every now and then this happens. You've gone through this process before. We're going through this process again. This isn't the last time we're going to go through this process. And people seem to acknowledge that. You don't seem to be questioning it as much as maybe other people are, as if maybe they're shocked that something happened. And you're like, well, maybe the way it happened is a shock, but the fact that it actually happened isn't, because sooner or later it's going to happen. It reminds me of like having family life. It's kind of like, people get older, and every now and then somebody passes away. And like every now and then somebody has a child, and there's a new addition to the family, or somebody gets married, or something happens. Every now and then people leave the situation, they pass away, and new people are added in. And to you it's kind of like, well, this happens. This is how this goes. Like every now and then it happens, and we're all going to have our turn in this situation. There's a turn where we come in, and there's a turn where we walk out. It's just what's going to happen. Other people seem to be more shocked, and you're just like, no, this happens. There's something with that here where I feel like you're going to step back and go, this is going to happen, and other people seem to be completely like thrown off by it. Scorpio tends to deal with that more, tends to kind of just see it for what it is. Healing comes out of this. You seem to be orchestrating some healing with this situation. You say things the way you need to say things. So it could be coming out very bluntly, or it could be coming out not so bluntly. I don't know. Scorpio tends to say things the way they need to say things. Like, I don't know what to say about that. It's just you say things the way you need to say things. And I feel like you're kind of trying to deconstruct something so people see it for the truth, and then you're allowing it to reconstruct the way it needs to. The consideration is to not highlight what's not going well. A consideration is this could go a lot better by not highlighting what's not going well. Because I keep looking at this and like, we could put it right out there, but people don't want to see something. People don't want to address that, like, this is a cyclical thing. This is going to happen every now and then. Even though maybe they're shocked that it happened, it's not really the biggest shock. Every now and then this happens. We're just going to have to deal with it. So try to not center on that seems to be having a better outcome. The advice for that, to keep this healing energy going, is kind of like, let them see it on their own terms and just keep moving on. You can't deny that something is missing, but letting them move to a more positive energy might be more healing. They can't really fix that, and it's going to kind of set them up for more disappointment, but that's like, I just feel like this isn't something you can really fix for somebody. They're going to cause their own problems either way. And it's realizing that they're probably going to cause their own problems either way. You can try to help, but it doesn't seem to be making your life any easier, and it doesn't seem to be making that difference. Letting the situation heal for the change that's happening is one thing, but trying to get them to see it in a more evolved way doesn't seem to be working. So the healing can be in like accepting the change has happened and repairing the change. But what I feel like this isn't going to work where we try to update their mindset and update how they handle things. I feel like there's a lot of resistance and a lot of just yes, nod, yep, okay, yeah, Scorpio, yeah. When people just nod and go yep, yeah, they're not really thinking about it. They're just agreeing to get past it. So I don't feel like there's healing on that level. there's healing more on the base level of the actual situation. So it's kind of like realizing the dog ran through the house and caused a lot of damage, fixing the damage and trying to, like, keeping things from, like, being out where the dog can break them. That's more likely to be more effective versus trying to fix the person who let the dog in and let the dog run through the house. That doesn't seem to be really working. So, like, realizing the dog's going to keep running through the house and they're just going to keep handling it the way they're going to handle it, accepting that, but, like, kind of like, all right, the dog's going to run through the downstairs, let's just block it so they can't get upstairs very easily, and we're just going to keep it to where, as if we have toddlers running around the house, you don't put breakable things down low, and, you keep things, you make sure sharp things aren't around so where the toddler won't get hurt, you know what I mean? Hopefully that made sense. So it's kind of like accepting the situation for what it is. Fixing the behavior doesn't seem to be working. Fixing the situation might be more effective. I hope I said that right. Because I get that there's going to be this person that's going to be this is how it is, this is how it's going to go. This seems to be the last piece I'm getting with this. And we touched on it in the beginning. So again, like, I used an animal like a dog running through the house, but it could be like a toddler, the same thing. They're only allowed on the base floor. So it's like we're making sure that, like, there's precautions so they can't get in the basement, so they can't fall down those stairs. We're also making sure they can't go upstairs. We're making sure there's precautions where they can't go up there. And anything on that first floor, we're making sure there's nothing sharp in their reach, or they're blocked out of certain areas so they can't even get to them, versus trying to get somebody to, like, update their behavior so that never happens. Updating somebody's behavior doesn't seem to be working, but baby-proofing the house does. And I feel like somebody's promoting that, like, well, for now, this is how, while this situation is this way, this is more effective. And I feel like we get more bounty looking at it in that version versus looking at it like a behavioral change. Because I feel like you can change your behavior and you have a lot of effectiveness with that, but it's not about your behavior. It's about somebody else's behavior, and they're not really fixing that. So it's kind of like, we're going to put up safety precautions. We're going to baby-proof this situation because I can't depend on them to fix their behavior, so I can fix the situation so they don't have the ability to hurt themselves or others by baby-proofing the situation. I'm not saying that's fair or the right way. That's just the way this reading is coming out for the situation you're dealing with, if this reading is hitting. Are we good? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.